this live stream. In this, I think I figured that I offer an intuitive channeling that in which I try to do an energetic recap from my eyes of what 2025 was, um, and then try to close all of that energy up to make sure, even on a personal level, that we are done with everything that this year brought, because it does feel like it beckons that kind of thing where you need to make sure that you're done with everything that was addressed, to really make room. I'm getting as an extension of something I intuited previously that now is the perfect season to clean and keep clean. So if you've already done a kind of like clean sweep of your house or a deep clean of your space or whatever, make sure you maintain that cleanliness. Something about that is going to translate to you energetically, spiritually. Anyway, yeah, I figured I'd do that and then close it off with some kind of spread, a card pull for us to understand maybe what we may have left behind in 2025, what we need to make sure we close off. I'm doing this reading and intuitive channeling on the 30th. So obviously timeless intention. This would mean then if you're watching this timelessly that whatever energy or channeling, whatever thing you get from this video, is in preparation for leaving behind this phase you're in and moving into the next one, wherever it may be. There are fireworks happening. They're very loud and close by. Give me a bit of a shock, a little bit distracting. But anyway, via the channeling and 2025 recap. So when I pulled cards for the year, which I will link a reading of in the description of this video, I received, if I remember correctly, the wheel in reverse, and then beneath the deck, the wheel in reverse, the Four of Swords, and beneath the deck, there was the Sun. I don't know where the Four of Swords came. I don't know if it was beneath the deck too, but that was the general energy of like stillness, a facing of like benevolent forces, the bad, the shadows, pretty much essentially what we've all been going through. The shadow work as a form of awakening and sitting still in not really observing it, being an observer of it, being present in the way that you take in bad stuff. That's what I feel collectively we had to learn how to do and master. I'm feeling into a sense of also needing to surrender to the bad or the shadows, but not in a fearful way, learning how to be still during shadow periods, learning how to hibernate like the way bears do, and not to take winter personally. You know what I mean? Plants and trees don't swear and curse at God every time it goes cold. They just follow their order. They shed their leaves. They go underground. They gather their foods enough for the winter to make sure, they don't complain. And I think that's something as a humanity we needed to learn how to do, on a collective and individual level, how to buckle down and surrender to your, to the bad karma of your life, because I believe everybody has good and bad karma playing out. Those two forces, the yin and the yang, always present. So learning how to be present with that. Hopefully you mastered it so that at the end of the day, whatever bad that happens in the near future and the continued future, knowing that shadows and bad shit happens, that you face it without victimhood. Face it with an understanding of your contract and your agreement with your life. I have reworked everything I see and everything that unfolds as something that is simply part of my Akashic record, soul contract, whatever. I don't know the details of my contract. It's none of my business, quite frankly, to know every single detail. I do, however, expect my universe to give me some kind of heads up or to prepare me in some way to be able to approach all of life, the good and the bad, whole, in a way that is meant, in a way that is true, you know what I mean, in a way that feels locked into me. It doesn't always have to feel good, but I would love to at least always feel connected, And the price of knowing that, the price of feeling connected that I have to pay is a surrender to knowing that sometimes bad shit is just going to happen. It's part of the deal. And I won't be able to question it. I'll just have to accept it, process it, let it change me, and move on. Very, 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 very big theme that is never going to stop, honestly, until it's all eradicated. And then once it's gone, you can manifest anything you want. Shame, guilt, shame, you have to get rid of that shit. You cannot feel like a victim anymore in your own life. It is literally nonsensical to live a life as a replicated image of God and look at your experience as that image and think all of your problem, or not all of your problem, face any problem. And this is how dramatic it needs to get with how you approach zapping that victimhood away. There is no problem that you cannot solve. None at all. There is no mountain that you cannot overcome. There is no emotion that you can feel that is too big for you to process. You are made for every single moment of your life, no matter how amazing, no matter how shitty, no matter how still, whatever. You are perfect for your life. You are perfect for all of your living experiences. And you have to trust that every moment is happening in that perfect unfolding. You have to. Stop expecting evidence now. Stop expecting a logical explanation and stop expecting to see it happen before you believe it. Lock in. Lock in. That's the most important locking in that needs to happen. A lot of people, I feel, are trying to take next year through the realm of the material, through the realm of the 3D, without tending to their internal world. And they're going to be shocked. They're going to get the fucking shock of their lives next year when they continue and they're caught in this continuous wheel of manifesting more states and experiences of victimhood and processing, guilt processing, fear processing, shame processing. When with ignoring their insights, they're never going to be able to understand that they're manifesting that for themselves, you know? Obviously, there are some things that you do not manifest for yourself that I said in what I just mentioned. It's just part of the fucking deal, you know? And it sucks. It just sucks, you know? Sometimes it just really amen. Bad shit happens. It just happens. And the sooner that you can accept that, again, like I said, without taking it personally and without feeling like a victim, the sooner you can do that, the better off you will be for the future, the more likely you will be able to manifest all of your dreams, anything you want, anything. It's always been shame. It's always been guilt that's been the problem. I'd like to especially highlight this for people of color, people who come from oppressed bloodlines and lineages. It's the shame. It has nothing to do with the money or the fact that we're not Nepo babies or the lack of access that may have had from whatever we may have inherited from that oppression, whatever state of poverty, whatever the fuck. It's not that. It's shame. Deal with the shame. Deal with the feeling of feeling like you are undeserving. Because that's also a huge part of why a lot of us aren't living our dreams yet, is because there's some part deep within us that feels that we don't deserve it. We have to address all of the fallacies, all of the falsehood of our living experiences and our disempowerment. Now is the time, more than it ever has been. And if you don't clear that up in 2025, it's going to revisit in 2026. And in my opinion, it's going to revisit in a more drastic way. So that's a thing that I'm feeling into very intensely. There's going to be so much very karmic energy that's going to feel as part of the chaos of the back and forth. A lot of karmic loops. So there's going to be a lot of reoccurrences of things. Specifically and especially of relationships, karmic, narcissistic connections, very toxic, passionate, fast-moving connections that activate a lot of response and reaction in people. I feel a lot of those connections are going to happen amongst the collective, and it's going to put a lot of people right back in a karmic cycle that they swore they wouldn't get back into. And as that happens, you have to understand, as part of what I mentioned, it's just part of the deal. The way I approach my comic relationships sometimes, more often lately, is that sometimes I can feel when me and someone who really riles someone, when someone really riles me up and they make me feel very passionate and they can like offset me or they can piss me off, they can say something that really irritates me quickly. When someone holds my heart like that and they can squeeze and do whatever they want with my emotions, that's when I know, that's when I dive in even more into connecting with them or talking to them or whatever, because I know that there's some unfinished business between us, and I interact with people with that intention, some of my comic relationships with that intention, knowing that I'm going to have to, this relationship, this connection is in my life because there's some energy that I need to kind of wash out through this relationship, through this connection. I obviously do that with full awareness and still with a deep, deep care. I love everybody, especially my comics. My comics bring out a lot of passion in me, and I love passion. I'm a Scorpio stellium. It's very tropical Scorpio stellium. It's very important to me. So I will always follow that passion. There's going to be a lot of passion disguised or intertwined with deep toxicity, manipulation. It's going to be like a real life episode of Gossip Girl. The drama. I love the drama. I love the plot. But I do feel that a lot of people are also going to be tired of it, and a lot of people are going to be quick to walk away from connections and relationships and be like, wait, I don't like the way this makes me feel. I'm done. Good on you if that can happen to you as soon as possible. That is definitely now. Now is the season for you to follow those instincts. It may be slow to pick up, though, for people who are still learning how to use their intuition. So, yeah, it's going to happen over time. But if that is something that you feel by chance right now, your inner gut saying, I really like this, I'm not really interested in this. Even with a job, if you feel like, oh, I really, really don't want to go back to work, don't go back to work, babe. But for real, I mean, guys, there has to be a point that we cross when we dedicate ourselves to living a spiritual, I believe in God, I surrender life. You know what I mean? You resign today, you get a new job next week. Depending on how you surrender, depending on how your relationship with God, your relationship with your contract, your relationship with the way you live, it's all up to you. Obviously, don't listen to me. Okay, listen to you. But I'm saying, for a lot of people who feel this inclination, just as an example, if you feel an inclination to drop something or leave a relationship now, and you don't follow that now, or at least be curious about it now, it's highly likely going to shock you later on, a little bit into 2026. Don't waste your own time like that. I have wasted years of my life not following my gut, and years later, I look back and I'm like, damn, I should have actually made this decision I'm making now years ago. Blessing for the collective, because 2026, we're all going to be saying a lot of that, and we're all going to get like fresh chances to rewrite everything, but quickly. So you won't be saying years ago like me. You'll be saying, oh, months ago, or even like last week. I was supposed to make a decision. I didn't make it. And here it is again, facing me again, needing me to decide. That's how it's going to be as well. Very quick opportunity to clear and rewrite karmic contracts next year. So much of that. A huge blessing, a real gift from the universe, and for our story. For each of our stories and our soul's progression. It's really wonderful. Next year is a really real, in my opinion, it's a real gift. It's like the universe going, here you go. So sweet. I think actually I addressed the energy that I mentioned there, addressed the umbrella of what 2025 was about. There was a lot, obviously, of individual stories and branching outs of like relationship reconciliations, final separations, a lot of really shifting deaths, a lot of changes in perceptions in the way that you see people who you used to see one way, but now you see another way, change in perceptions of yourself, of situations, a lot of things that had longevity to them in your life that you thought, oh, this is going to go this way for a really long time. It switched, it changed, absolutely. and the foundation is still really murky and unclear, rocky, like what is to come? What's going to happen? What's 2026 about? And I think in general, we can just be, I think honestly, in my opinion, the best way to approach next year is with the energy of the Fool and as like open hearted, open handed, open model as possible. Be willing to live as open model of a life as possible. Next year, I think, is the perfect year to play the yes game and just say yes to shit for an extended period of time. Say yes to as many things as you can. I think that'll yield a very fun story. If you are a fire sign, God bless you. Next year, definitely, in my opinion, is in your favor. You are naturally inclined to behave in ways in which next year can be used to really shoot people, you know? It's like next year's an elastic band and everybody just has to get cozy in their positions to launch off. But a lot of people, I think, are going to be afraid. They're going to be uncertain. Like, is this actually going to shoot? Or they're going to be doubtful. Like, this won't go that far. No, it's going to be amazing. And you have to be open to do anything, really. Not anything like that. Anything like joyfully, you know. I'm getting a lot of people getting very popular via TikTok suddenly. I know that social media does that already, but it feels like next year there's going to be a rise in participation, in collective participation, no longer from celebrities like we've been seeing anticipation of that. But I think next year is going to be a further upload of that, or like an explosion of that, where more people are more regular people, more normies are going to get famous. Multiple income streams, but yeah, only if you're about that. I really wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't recommend over burning yourself out. Yes, don't burn yourself out. Don't get too excited. Next year's gonna be really exciting. Lots of things to do for everyone. I highly recommend you be smart about the way that you handle your energy, split your attention, focus your awareness. Next year will be the year to get focused on your focus. Get control of your awareness. Next year will be a terrible year for running on autopilot. I believe that you can expect anyone who's used to doing autopilot stuff to be projecting on other people as well. To have, those are the people who are going to burn out. Those are the people who are going to have mental dips. Do not do anything on autopilot. If you find yourself doing it on autopilot, pick things up quickly to get yourself into presence. Presence is the most important state to be in forever, but especially 2026 and beyond. Yeah, I also did feel into something separately a few days ago about the meek. Destiny has been the one, Queen Kaptara has been the one who's been reiterating this over the years. But I noticed it in real time, even in societies, different kinds of people. You know how, in general, like scientists, researchers are liable to be more meek than politicians, for example. So the meek, even in that sense, are going to rise. Disney's been talking about the meek rising. So everybody who was meek or previously victimized or feeling victim before, you have an extra superpower now. You have an extra opportunity to launch, higher than higher than those who haven't had to process victimhood, because the lessons from processing shame and victimhood are useful in these times. The lessons are many. I wouldn't be able to break them down now, but just know that if you're somebody who's been processing feelings of shame and victimhood as of late, that's a superpower. Hold on to that and keep sincerely processing it. And if you're watching this by chance before 2025 ends, please look after yourself into the new year. Please keep your immune systems up. Oh, very important. So important, especially if you plan on being in public. During this time, up until around the 10th of Jan, I'm feeling, you honestly rather don't go out, Rather stay intimate, keep it amongst your close ones, your loved ones. If you go out, make sure that you get that vitamin shot, whatever you need to take to keep your immune system up immediately. And into the years to come, please look after your health. Be as proactive as possible in staying healthy. Sign up for that gym membership, pick up that Pilates class or whatever. Cut down on that sugar, whatever you can to keep it up. Your health is going to be so important. And I think that's it. I'm going to shuffle now for the question of what it is that we need to address before the new year ends, before this phase of your life ends, before this new year ends, before this year ends, and the new year comes. What needs to be closed or looked at? That's literally the card of like looking back, like literally look back. 6 of Cups, gratitude. I'm receiving that it could be useful for you to write a list of things that you are grateful that 2025 brought you, the changes, specifically the lessons. I think that will be helpful in integrating everything that you learned this year. And I'm also getting that if there's a relationship or connection in your life that you had hopes for, that you've been kind of waiting on in a sense, let it go, babe. Move on. Leave that relationship in the past. Anything that, and I'm sure you've been seeing this a lot as well in the spiritual streets, anything that doesn't feel like a very big yes is a no. Even if it's a maybe, it's a no. It has to be a yes. That includes people in your life. If anyone approaches you or the way they talk to you or they barely talk to you at all, it's like, then take it as a no and focus on yourself. Move on. Focus on yourself as much as you can. Focus on gratitude as much as you can. Yeah, really release the past. That's felt like a specific channeling. Release past relationships, reconciliations, all that shit. Just move on. And I wasn't going to take it, but it all fell upright. No, I want to shuffle again, but I am seeing the wheel, and I was focused on the wheel before. So I'm going to bring it up and just leave it there. Or actually, no, I'm just going to shuffle again, but it's worth showing that the wheel fell out. And in the beginning of the year, in the 2025 reading, it fell out in reverse. So God bless. Thank you for showing up upright. This is the final 2025 reading. That's very nice. Again, many cards. Come on, girl. Please don't overwhelm us. Thank you. Okay, the King of Cups. So, yeah, I'm feeling into specifically finding a way to be grateful for all the really sad, bad, slow, stagnant, whatever stuff that happened this year. And humble yourself to trying to understand how that helped you. So for me, I went through one of the most depressing winters. Winters are normally very terrible for me, but this year's winter was very, very terrible. And it was purely internal. It wasn't very external. My external world was actually very peaceful. My internal world was suffering, and that made my internal world suffer more. But I understand the wisdom of it, and I understand what I had to process during that time. And after integration and sitting with everything, I'm actually very, very grateful, and I understand that had to happen eventually because I had been, prior to that winter, pushing down a lot of emotions that I thought I'd left behind. They all came up again to be felt. That may be something that's useful for you. Feel through everything again. Make sure. Sometimes I put myself through that as a tropical Scorpio. I put myself through feeling really sad, emotional stuff in the past to see how I deal with it, to see how it sits. But that's obviously at your own discretion and only if it works for you. I'm receiving that right now, it would be a really good idea to just feel everything through. Feel everything about this past phase of your life. Everything that happened, everything that wasn't, that you're willing to let go of. Make a list maybe of things that you're willing to let go of. Burn it under the full moon. Do that kind of ritual. It could be helpful, or not under any full moon. Just do it anytime you want. And really say goodbye. I'm getting that you need to say goodbye. Don't know to who, to what, maybe to a person. Yeah, really say goodbye to them. And really be at peace with like not connecting with that person in the way that you want. This feels like a specific channeling. There may be a connection that you need to say goodbye to because this person isn't showing up in a way that you like, that in a way that feels safe for you. Or just it just doesn't feel like you two are compatible, you and this other person, or you and this other job or whatever. I don't know. Whatever this thing is, you're not compatible with it. So say goodbye to it once and for all. Yeah. Cancer season. I'm getting something about Cancer season, but there's not more. Because it's Cancer season is in front of you, but what this is addressing is something at the back of you. So there may be something that you need to address at the back of you in order to prepare and make room for that's going to come in Cancer season. Who knows? I'm going to shuffle one more. Let's see. And leave it at that. Wow, how neat. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. Every time I say interesting, you can trust the cards fell out in reverse. Okay. Huh? All right, so they're supposed to be upright. Okay. So you have the Three of Discs that kind of blooped. Like in my hand. Yeah, it fell out in a funny way. And then these two cards fell out face down. They fell out in reverse at first. So I will consider them both, but it feels more right to hold them upright. This is the card of essentially the essence of this reading. Introspection, looking at what is, seeing what fits, leaving behind what doesn't. Leaving behind what does not fit. Moving on and preparing for a much, much, much brighter future in every sense of the word. This is also a card that appeared in the 2025 reading. So this is wonderful synchronicities that's showing up. I feel called to touch on the Three of Discs energy and only read on what jumps out to me. And then move on to the Sun and the Six of Swords in reverse. And then close the reading. So this card speaks of an overview of life. I'm getting the overview of 2025 as a whole, seeing what fits, leaving behind what does not fit, seeing more specifically what you learned about the way that you feel when certain things happen. That feels important, random. I'm also getting, though, that I'm likely reading for a group of people who can say they're satisfied with 2025. Yes, it was hard, but you learned. You gained, you saw, you grew, you felt, you cried, you were honest. I'm receiving here that you were honest, at least, with yourself. And honest to your inner child. This card speaks of a satisfactory business or portfolio career. Could be a hint to take an open-minded look at your life, its objectives and quality, like I mentioned early on in the reading. Open model. Play the yes game with the universe. Open to everything. Open to everything. The minute you feel yourself contracting or closing off, relax, take a few breaths. Seems like you've got a handle of that, though. With these cards, I'm reading for somebody who has a grip on, like, you know what to do when you feel certain ways. Let's touch on the Sun. Well, no, let's touch on the Six of Swords, actually, in reverse first. I'm going to only read out what jumps out for me in reverse. Nameless fears and unknown threat. Okay. Tendency to run away from difficulties doesn't feel relevant here. Okay, I'll say all in all then the reverse card. I'm not going to touch on it. Yeah, I think I was right to take it upright. The cards that stand out to me, the interpretation, the sentences that stand out to me for the card upright. Travel that allows a release from cares and worries. And these two cards together speak of that in general. I think that these two represent what you can expect of the new year after doing this introspective work and trying to understand what 2025 was for you, or what this phase that you're leaving was for you. You can expect this on coming after you do the work, and or when you do think about what you want of the next phase of your life, think about wanting this. Release from cares and worries. Try to seek more joy. That feels collective as well, that we really are looking for ways to enjoy ourselves more. I did post a reading recently, as of like a few minutes before starting this reading. I'll link the reading in the description that spoke about this collective desire to be happier. Challenges still lie ahead of you, but the main difficulties have been overcome. Like I mentioned earlier in the reading, 2025's lesson, in my opinion, was to teach us how to understand that life has its joys and its sufferings. And in order to really eat life fully, we have to be open to experience all of it. We have to be willing to experience all of it. So actually, now that I think of it, and I've been speaking on this very much since the beginning of the year, be very wary of spiritual influences and even people in general who are very love light, like they're hypnotized or something, Just be wary. I'm not saying like reject them altogether. Just, just dip your toe in, try to understand, be a little with a grain of salt. The ability to give care to your psyche, to give care to yourself and the vulnerable areas of your psyche. Very important. The beginning of something unknown, and it also speaks of health concerns. But like I said, I don't think that's relevant here, but I think maintaining your health will be relevant into the future. On and on. I think that's all I have, actually. I feel called to now address the Six of Cups, and then I really will finish. This card speaks of cherished memories. Cherished memories. Childhood ideals returning to the present. I've been getting a lot of that random sensations of remembering how I used to feel when I was a child, remembering the sensations of being a child, a teenager, and I didn't used to remember it. I know that's probably English, but yeah, it wasn't always in my memory, and now I'm getting random bits of it. And I've been living in my childhood home for years now, and it's taken some time. You'd think that with staying in that kind of environment where all of the memories were formed, that the memories would kind of kickstart, but they haven't. Only now they're kickstarting. So I guess timing. Childhood things, childhood healing, inner child healing. Maybe if that's not been your focus, make it your focus. Very important. Letting go of emotional problems and difficulties in the past and turning towards the future. Bless. If this year was a very depressing year for you, get to the bottom of understanding why that was the case. Eliminate the victimhood. Understand it's part of your cycles. Learn from that experience and move on. Next year is for enjoyment. 2026 is for enjoyment. Gratitude for the present. Purity of vision. In my opinion, the King of Cups holds a kind of like naivety because he's so empathic. He's such an empathic person that he's the type to assume the best of people. That may be a personality trait that you could adopt that could help you. Learn how to be that kind of person so that next year can be easier on you. That's definitely a personal one for me. Living open model is extremely difficult, but we have to solve the apathy of the Four of Cups beneath the deck. We have to solve the sense of apathy or depression or whatever lack of enjoyment that came from 2025. We have to address it. 2026 cannot be the same. Whatever happened 2025 can never happen again. And we say it as a joke, but we are all so serious. Every single person saying it is so serious. It can never happen again. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful, especially in processing the energies of 2025. And if by chance you're in these streets trying to look for the next move, please always know, beyond what any of us tarot readers and channelers and anyone you may consult with or anywhere you seek, whatever external validation you seek, nothing matches to the internal validation constantly waiting within you to be acknowledged. Please consider that always, always through everything you do, even through watching tarot videos. I'm so grateful for your presence. I'm grateful to be doing this work. I don't know if I will be coming on before the new year, so if by chance I do not, I don't think I said Merry Christmas at all in any of my readings. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I hope that you are ready for the time of your life. Thank you for watching.